So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Resilience is not only as a term an interesting word or interesting term because it's so meaningful, but it's also a very interesting topic to discuss, and that's why we are meeting here tonight.
We will start with my colleague Virginie from the Red Cross EU office, who will introduce the campaign to you, because our event here is actually embedded into a larger campaign on awareness raising on disaster resilience.
So the Disaster Resilience Journal examines how individuals and communities and countries around the world are building resilience in a landscape of climate change, social, economic and cultural shifts. The journal is serialized as a set of 42 short articles, released one a day via social media and blogs.
Why the World Bank dealing with disasters? We believe that natural disasters don't exist. There's nothing natural about the disasters. The disasters are an issue of development. And if we talk about resilience, we need to question ourselves and say, all this population, all these people that have been surviving these disasters, what is the quality of life they are having after the disaster? And disasters are happening everywhere in the world and happening in Europe. We haven't had a big disaster in many years, but this graph shows simply how many capitals of these countries were destroyed by disasters. How to build a resilient society. This is a must that we have to do in our view. But it's not only action, but also responsibility. If not, we are never going to be resilient in this world. As somebody mentioned, we only have one world, it's one chance. Thank you very much.
I know when we are talking about other countries, developing countries, that we mention exactly that problem, that people are not aware of that. And I wonder now, are we also just not aware? Do we not want to see that we actually are running into a problem?
I think there is a big difference. And we were mentioning this at the beginning of how disasters are related to good planning, good development.
Disaster resilience is the common responsibility of all sectors in a society. When we speak about resilience, how the resilience of communities could be reinforced. First of all, we have to identify already existing coping mechanism in communities.
I would like to turn to Michael Obrowski.
Resilience was included as the word resilience, but it was included to build resilient infrastructure. We have to start to make governments more accountable, to do decisions in more resilient laws, bills and everything. So you mentioned before Vienna and our flood system in Vienna. It took about 40 years to see the results, and everybody now is happy to have such a flood system in Vienna. So, as you mentioned before, it takes time and it takes visions and decisions of the politicians and of all politicians and all sectors.
Is the World Bank doing anything else with its member states towards Sendai and towards hopefully this new framework of action to promote disaster risk reduction, not only the issues that I'm concerned with?
We are trying to provide as much technical assistance on the process. Again, it's a country decision how they position themselves.
What is resilience for you? And I would also still like to ask you this burning question. Do you think that we, living here in Vienna and in the surrounding areas, are we resilient communities?
Elma said he feels completely safe in Austria, right? And I'm happy that you do, but you are not. Because, you know, we have so many hazards and so many risks you don't even face. When we had the floods in 2002 or in 2013, affected people, you know, they were removing their flat screen TVs to the first floor. and they saved money with this, 400, 500, maybe 1,000 euro, but they lost their love letters in the cellar that they kept for 20 years, and they lost their memories, and that's a loss. It's not the loss that I fucking lose my TV. The question of resilience for me is touching the society. But there is just very little funds about the societal impact and about how the society, the households, the families, the schools, they can prepare and they can be more resilient.
We need to set our priorities right to stay safe. I think the discussion today gave us a lot of, at least, food for thought for the policy and for the practical level. I would like to thank all the panelists and experts and the audience for contributing to this discussion.